What is going on, Hoodie Ninjas? Spectral 50 here, bringing you a brand new video for 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. And as you can see from the game, we are going to be going over Final Boss King and just the teams I used, potential other teams, and the basic strat that I used to farm this for my points and get the best score possible. Um, he has 3 difficulties: hard, extreme, hell. Hard, pretty straightforward, should be pretty accessible to anybody. Extreme, you definitely need more of the right characters, and they have to be geared well. Um, Having a good, strong alt is definitely not a problem if you can do it's great to have, but it's definitely doable. Hell, unless you're very incredibly efficient or wailing hard, is most likely like not reachable for most. I'm still trying to beat it. I've come very close. It'll come down to if you can get like a good Jericho crit or something like that. You want to farm up your points because you're going to be able to go into the shop. And the shop has cosmetics and items that are super important. Like I've bought them. They have a king costume, which is great. Waters of life. They have your demon parts, UR chests, your awakening stones, and anvils, which are definitely very, very important. As for the team I used to get the most points on my extreme run was Green Merlin, Green Jericho, Green Elaine, and I believe his name's Julian. The only reason she's here, and period, she does not see any combat. Of course, go away. Normally I'd want to do you, but shoosh, is Jillian. Because of this unique right here, 30% HP, which gives you a lot more sustain and you can survive. Very, very handy. Elaine is there because she has a way to D-rank cards. She can remove alt meter, and with her ultimate, she removes buffs. And all of those things provide a ton of points. They really, really help you get higher points. Jericho is specifically there as your damage dealer. You build her up as much as possible to have perfect crit chance, and you get her through the first phase, and then you use her ultimate in the second phase, hoping for a crit and a one shot. Merlin is specifically there primarily for the removal of alt gauge, like absolutely primary thing. Your shields that she does can be helpful, just helps you sustain longer, but primarily alt gauge. You do not want King to alt you on any phase. It does a lot of damage and it's really hard to finish off if you get hit. As for food, you can run attack food, you can run crit damage food in hopes that your Jericho crits. If you need some more sustain, you can do HP or lifesteal. Simply that is choose the food that is best suited for your team and what you need. Some other teams that you can do, I have seen, is you'll have Merlin, Jericho, and um, Green Escanor. That's actually a team I typically will use for just farming extreme because I'm not aiming for points, it's just kill it as fast as possible. Subs like Jillian, you can use Death Pierce to reduce the crit resistance. You can use Red Lizhawk to get, I believe it's Red Liz, or it's Red Liz, is for your healing. Other characters is Green SR Lizhawk is very strong in this fight as well. For people who are more free to play, maybe don't have like a maxed alt Jericho or very well set up Escanor since he just released as of this video. But let's get into the hard boss and just kind of go through everything. Make sure to watch up here because most likely you'll have auto on and you do not want that to hit right away. That would be very, very bad. As we wait for it to load very, very slowly. And here is Final Boss King's Phase 1. Looks like just basic blue king is what he looks like. Make sure that the auto is off. Done. So he will have his 2 ads, and and then there will be him. When we pull him up, as you can see, he's got 102,000 health, 4,800 attack, 5,400 defense, and, yep, and max HP. He's pretty much set up so we have this, which is Shatter, which is ignores resistance, can go up from 120 to 180 to 300. This is just the basic Petrify. The odds of him actually getting a Petrify are very slim. And he has the basic Chastafil ultimate like King. He has increases the skills used by 1, so you can do it more. Debuff cancel. It removes debuffs from this hero during the ally's turn, so it removes things you can't really do anything debuff wise to him. It doesn't, yeah. So anything like snatches and whatnot are not going to happen, and he's just immune to stun, petrify, and freeze. So you pretty much just got to damage him down and survive. So what we're going to do is he's not at ult because of course he doesn't have his aura. You have his minions here. All they do right here is increase the attack of all allies. They'll just literally buff him constantly. They take no damage. You cannot debuff them. The only thing you can do is reduce their ultimate gauge. So you want to immediately click to target him because you do not want them targeting these guys because there's no reason whatsoever for that. First turn, I typically put out a shield, and then I start using Jericho cards to do some damage, plus building up her crit chance and her ult gauge while working him down to be through phase 1. And this is going to be a fairly nice turn because we're going to use this we're going to use Merlin to reduce the ultimate gauge because he's going to have ult ready, and you really do not, again, do not let him ult because every turn he's going to keep getting stronger. That's kind of what Elaine's ult will do, is it'll remove all these buffs on all of them, and you get points for that. Like, if you're aiming for a point score, that's the way to do it. So we're going to remove, we're going to bleed, and then we're going to do our big ol' weak point attack. This should get pretty dang close to finishing off. Yep, see. Done. Now we're going to phase 2. Now you got to make sure when you go to phase 2, you are no longer going to be targeting King. Before you do anything, make sure you click on King to target him, because you really do not want to waste attacks in phase 2 because you need to get him down as fast as possible. You see I have my ult. We're going to target. Now this phase of King is a little bit different. He's a lot like Green King. He does get the as the crit or his ult gauge goes up, he gets more crit. He's immune to the debuffs and they remove at the end of the thing. He's immune to stuns, petrifies, and freezes. This is again his spike. I mean, he's pretty much identical to Green King in those aspects. His minions. Yeah, fills the hero's ultimate gauge by 5 orbs at the start of the battle. Yeah, so he's gonna he's gonna fill up the ultimate gauge. Heals 100% of diminished HP. See, yeah, can't hurt him. Cannot drop him below 1 HP. It increases the ally's crit damage by a multiplier of 0.2 per ultimate gauge orb. So that's what I was talking about, is with these full, he's gonna hit very, very hard that first turn. We have Elaine here, which we're going to merge, which this one here is the one that attacks one enemy and will D-rank cards. I'm going to D-rank these cards because I don't want to get hit by a gold card or a 3-star card when he's at a huge crit damage multiplier. And then we're going to pray for the Jericho crit. We'll see. King is fairly hard to actually crit, so we'll see. Not a crit, but I did one shot. That was hard. I mean, hard difficulty is pretty straightforward. It's not very hard. You just need to be able to push the damage out long enough while you're keeping yourself alive. And now we'll go into extreme. This is where most people are getting the highest scores possible. They're trying to rank up as high into the global ranking so they can get the rewards at the end of this. So you can see I cleared it 10 times. We'll go back in. That's these rankings over here. It shows your score and I'm in the top 1.41%. I will continue to work on that. Some of these teams don't make any sense whatsoever for their point values and doesn't something seems very, very fishy. Like, I'm sorry, but green bond with stats to something does not make sense, and a red Jericho in the sub, to me that just doesn't make sense. Something is fishy there. And then here's your rewards right here. Basically, if you were to rank top 5% rewards, you get all of these rewards. If you get top 15%, you get from 15% and down. So you want to aim as high as you can. The higher you can get, the more rewards you'll get at the end of all of this. So let's hit extreme. I'm going to just eat some lifesteal food because we'll show you it does help. Like, I mean, all the sustain, the better, because my Jericho should be able to get pretty dang close to beating this boss in a single hit. If she crits, it is a single hit. If she doesn't crit, I usually have to follow it up by a turn or two. But we will find out. Alright, enter into Extreme. Final Boss King, here we go. I'm hoping we can get some good Elaine cards because in Extreme, you can score some really good points as he builds up his attack buffs with her ult by removing everything. But we'll start off, as you can see, he doesn't have full ult gauge, so we're going to put a shield out just for some sustain. And then we're going to use Jericho because we want to build up her ult for second phase. And we just got to get her crit chance up as high as possible because, as you can see, that's a good. And as you noticed, I didn't target King, so of course he took no damage because I attacked his freaking minions, which of course does absolutely nothing. But fortunate enough, the first cards are not huge, and we will rectify that on our turn right here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna reduce his ult, move over here. As you can see this will attack all enemies and depletes ultimate gauge. So it'll deplete the ultimate gauge of his minions as well. And what this is going to do is that when you reduce ultimate gauge, you get points. And it's just going to help us get more and more points. Our Jericho is basically ready, which is great. And like I said, you can definitely use Escanor here. It all depends on how well built your Escanor is versus your Jericho. Mine is, of course, a 6/6 ult. I have most of the cosmetics I want for her. My Escanor is also pretty well built, but I don't have a ton of cosmetics. And at this current moment, I've felt like my Jericho in my situation has been better. But that is all on the kind of what you feel with your team. Like, what have you built? If you have just a very basic Jericho, then it might very well be just using your Escanor if you have him. Some people are, of course, not lucky enough to have pulled him because it's RNG and RNG sucks. Alright, so what do we need to do here? I'm going to use Elaine just to get her ult. Then we're going to use Merlin to reduce. And I'm going to go for the better shield next turn. Basically, what you want to do for when you're trying to get a high score is you want to be able to sustain as long as possible to be able to build up as many points as possible. That is the ultimate goal, 100%. You want to be able to build as many points as long as you can stay alive. This should be a phenomenal alt by Elaine. I also just noticed that I do not have a way to reduce ultimate gauge, so we are going to do Merlin's ult and pray to God we can reduce him down far enough. I have a feeling we're going to take some serious damage on this, but that's the RNG of cards. Yep, see, I won't be able to do anything. He's going to ult me and then attack me. Hopefully this rank 2 shield will do some decent, and the fact that I reduced his attack buffs a lot. So yeah, I was able to survive a lot easier, thankfully, because of Elaine's ultimate. But we'll get him this turn because we are going to go and use our Jericho. And then we're going to pop the shield to go into the next round. There we go. We're going into phase 2. HP is not necessarily what I would like it, but with lifesteal and whatnot, Jericho will definitely rebuild quite a bit of her HP that she's lost. But you want to down phase 2 as fast as possible. I would have ideally liked to have both my Merlin and my Jericho alt ready just to double tap in case of the non-crit, but that is what happens. We definitely need to make sure, again, when you switch over to phase 2, you lose the target. You need to make sure to re-target. We do not need to worry about that his ultimate gauge just yet. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to use Jericho's cards here with her ult to pray we can get a crit. If we get a crit, it should one tap. If not, it won't. Simple as that. It's just RNG. We will see what happens. And there you go. 500,000 crit. Bam. We'll see what we got for points. We're sitting just shy of 1,700 right now. I beat my score. I just got a 1724. So that's the gist of it, guys, with the final boss king fight. Hell is just basically, it's the exact same fight, but you have to have everybody at really, really good gear, level 75. You're probably better off putting a Liz in the sub to heal because he hits like a truck. It's just a lot more damage and you got to deal a lot more damage. If you have any questions or comments, just please leave them down below. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and I will catch you guys later.